Good day and welcome to the Power Up. I'm your host, Tami Hill Thomas, excited to join you another day so that we can get equipped, educated, empowered, and elevated together to make a difference where we are. Wherever we are around the globe, in our communities, around this wonderful world and planet, or even just inside of our little world, we're here to be change agents and difference makers. So, welcome so that we can all get powered up together. Today, we're going to start with Inside the News as we look at the financial state and well being of these United States of America. Currently, our country is covered with inflation and dealing with the financial impact, where 34% of all Americans have zero savings. Zero savings. 34%. 66% of millennials have zero retirement savings. And 72% of households do not have a written financial plan. Today, we're going to share information that's so key and bring an expert to you that can help us all be better. Remember, knowledge is power. So we'll grow from education and then figure out how to win at life with financial insight on this journey to financial health. The U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, BEA.gov, released results in its recent annual report provided by the International Transactions Account with the International Investment Positions Account that shared the insight of where the United States is compared to other countries and even within our borders. Statistics that show the changes in different new and improved methodologies for savings and financial impact, and how it touches all of us as those who pay taxes, those who are citizens of this amazing country. So, we want to let you know that there are not only entities developed by the U.S. Department of Commerce specifically to focus on the economic development and analyze how we're doing as a country, but to also share wealth and information and how we can improve our financial health. The statistics are rather interesting, showing inflation in an all-time high, showing how overall the government through Congress has had to do a lot of recalculation and have to help a lot of more release more programs. There we are, federal assistance programs to help those of us who are still many recovering after the pandemic. So, have we made it to a place where all are equal? No. But information can help you figure out how to get ahead. There are improvements in how you can estimate how the cost that you're paying that might be exported, in other words, it's made overseas, can is increased because it then has to have cost added to it for shipping, manpower, fuel, and then the logistics to get it from those ships to the very store where you purchase it from. That's why it might be a little higher depending on if it's foreign made versus domestic. A lot of us don't think about how many of the businesses and that are part of our economy, we delve deeply into having foreign exchange, to having a market that is a global market, not just what's in our neighborhoods, not even just what's in our United States, but how we compare and work with those other governments around the world. You can go to the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis to get more information on freight exports and how that helps with the transportation within our borders and foreign ports. Right? Most of us who travel internationally know about the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, right? We know that it's important that everything be valued, that people aren't sneaking things in that they're not paying for here. The same way we pay extra to have exports come in, When we send things to other countries, they should also pay our people who bring those ships there, our folks who help do the packaging. Come on, because those are families that need to be paid. They need to eat, they need health care, right? We're all in this thing together. Get educated, family. Go to the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis that's under the U.S. Department of Commerce. One of the things we're intentional about on the Power Up is making sure that we share information that those of us may never consider. Some of us, we live in our bubble of what our bank account has and the receipts that we use from what we've expended, our little monthly spreadsheet on what we have to live in. And we forget that there's such a big world out here that's impacted not just by every dollar you spend, right? But things that happen because you pay your taxes. What does that money go towards? You want to get educated so that you can be empowered and make some decisions on your financial well being and the legacy that you're going to leave for your children, your children's children. Uh huh. Those great grandbabies down the line. We all want to be better. Get educated, family, so that you can make a difference. We hope some were introduced for the first time to the Bureau of Economic Analysis. We hope that some understand now that people aren't just taking your money, but there are entities that are out there literally analyzing what's working, what's not working, what trends, what flows, what's different now versus what happened 50 years ago that we might need to revisit. Lesson learned are important as well. So we hope this was information that was helpful to you. Please go tap into that resource and learn more. As we talk about financial health, being the best we can, winning with our money, we brought an expert today, a returning guest that we're so excited to hear from because he's ready to pour into us. Family, stay tuned. There's so much more after this.
Hello, my name is Regina Hutt. I am a holistic practitioner and CEO of Sacred Healing, Mind, Body, and Soul. I wanted to invite you to join me live in December to come take a journey to wholeness. You are the best investment. I look forward to seeing you as we strive to greatness.
Welcome back, family. Welcome to the Power Up. We're so glad you're staying with us for this ride as we grow together. As our producers have taken time to really delve deeply into every part of a human being, what will make you physically healthy, mentally healthy, socially and culturally healthy, and financially healthy. We're going to welcome back to the Power Up, our returning expert. We always bring you the best of the best. Mr. Ken Burwell joins us today, bank executive, financial advisor. This man's life and breath is around helping people understand money and grow so that it's not just a matter of your bank account growing, but we know what to do with it. And I'm so glad you're joining us, Ken. Welcome back to the Power Up.
Thanks, Tami. Great to be here.
Oh man, listen, there's 2 times a year we know we're going to hear from you. That's around tax season when you help us prepare to be healthy there, and the end of the year because you have a great push and a great heart to educate, whether it's community-based initiatives or whether you're going to colleges talking to the students or even old folks like me that you have sitting down doing one-on-one analysis. I want to share this one statistic. I saw a statistic earlier from a national publication, a worldwide publication as well respected. And it said something that was really interesting. It said 70% of American households remain financially unhealthy,
Yes.
with day-to-day financial realities worsening. Tell us why this is happening before we delve into the how we can get better.
Let's look at the day to day. One thing that everybody does and they have to do is eat. That's just, you have to eat. So that means you have to buy food. The price of groceries has almost doubled in the past 7 years. So what you used to be able to go to the store and spend $100 and get a whole shopping cart full of groceries. Now maybe you get the little cart that the little one that you carry, that you can fill that up and get for about $100. So the cost of groceries going up, paychecks aren't. So that means you're spending more money on absolute necessities where you don't have the luxury or that expendable income or that spare income that you used to have. It's not there any longer. So that's causing the stress.
So you didn't seem surprised though at that statistic, Ken.
Not at all.
70%. Now, 70 is more than half.
Yes.
70% of American households are financially unhealthy.
So the thing, if you want to really put it into perspective, tell everybody to walk out their front door, look to the house to your left, and look to the house to the right. Two of those houses, two of the three of those are financially stressed.
My goodness.
Very simply
Okay.
put.
But that's seniors, that's single parents, that's
That's everyone.
couples.
That's two dual working households. Dual working households, because their expenses are, just because you have two incomes doesn't mean that you're twice as fortunate. When you have two incomes, that you have expenses that single incomes don't have. They don't have to worry about daycare, after school care. They don't have to worry about two cars going to work, insurance on two cars, gas on two cars, maintenance on two cars. A single income household, they really just have to worry about the one. There are many, many factors, and I'm not surprised at all. I see them every day. Folks who have both parents are working, no children, or even one child, still coming to the branch stressing, hey, how do I make this dollar last a little bit longer? It's the society, and it's the environment that we're living in. I'm going to put it like that. It's the environment we're living in.
Wow. So thank you for validating the statistic. Again, knowledge is power. We can't run in fear, but we can work at it. The
Absolutely.
unhealthy means that there's a healthy option that we can get
Absolutely.
healthy. So help us first, if you don't mind. I know you've got the fix. Before we get to the fix, what do you see as a lot of the brokenness in habits that we're using that might be self-inflicting this on us? Other inflation is something out of our control, but
Correct.
what's in our control that you think might be adding to this as well?
All right. I'm going to use that 6-letter, very, very bad word. I know every time I come on, I say it, and I get dirty looks. I get some emails from folks.
Wait a minute,
Budget.
can I guess?
What is it?
Budget.
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 Budget. How do you build a house with plans? You don't just walk up to a slab of concrete and say, I'm putting up a house. You got to have plans. How you bake a cake, do a recipe. You have to have plans. And if you don't have like they say, if you don't have a plan to succeed, then you're going to plan to fail. So you need a plan, and a budget is strictly a plan. It really is. It just says, when a dollar came in, where did it go? That's it. It's a budget. If it went to fast food, okay, you know where it is. If it went to the mattress, you know where it is. If you have no idea where it is, then there's no way to track. So I start that everywhere I go. Again, some folks, it's an aha, a bubble moment. Yeah, maybe I should. But here's the question. What would it hurt if you tried it for 30 days, 60 days? And if it works, maybe you keep it going.
So you're right. This is something that you share with us a lot. And I kind of want to throw this at you that we hadn't talked about before. We actually received a question from a viewer that is literally around this. And it goes to Tammy rising it because it was really wordy. The how to start, the tips on just basic how to start. Now, I don't know if this was from a senior perspective or from
Mhm.
straight out of college perspective or facing retirement perspective. I don't know. But how, if you do want to start with budgeting or you do want to start dealing with a healthy financial approach,
Mhm.
where does it really start?
It starts by knowing the 2 points, your 2 access points, where money comes in, your income, um, any type of income you have, any type of receipts that you have. You need to know where your money's coming from that you have access to spend. It could be, like I said, your income. It could be dividends from savings. It could be bonds. It could be whatever. However you get money in to spend, documenting that. You get $500 a week. Okay, it's a weekly five, and you know it's $500 a week. Multiply that by the month, it's $2,000 a month. 4 weeks, and we're going to take an average 4 weeks of the month. That's $2,000 a month. That is your income budget. Very simple, not rocket science. How much coming in? Now, how much is your rent, your mortgage, your light bill, your gas bill? And again, a budget is a living, breathing document. It does not have to be absolute. It's flexible. Your light bill in January is $60. In March, it's $52. Just because you wrote 60 doesn't mean you can't write 52 in March. Okay? It's something you keep track of. Then you see, okay, well, my total expenses on average is $1,700. Okay, that leaves you $300 with things that you have not accounted for. Does that mean now you can go on a cruise this month because you got a 300 extra dollars? Maybe you didn't account for the gas. Maybe you didn't account for a urgent care visit. Maybe you didn't account for the water heater going. Maybe you didn't account for something. So no, that is your emergency funds. Once your emergency funds get up, then you start saying, okay, now it's time to have fun. But again, it does not mean that you can't have fun. Please don't think Ken's saying you can't have fun, because having a budget and sticking to a budget does not mean that you can't enjoy life. All right.
Mhm.
So because if you don't enjoy life, you're not going to enjoy doing what you do, and then you'll be upset. So in your budget, plan on fun. I'm a bowler. I like to bowl. All right, I travel to bowl. I'm that's my thing.
300 score, y'all.
Yeah,
300 score. Don't sleep on them.
I I do it, but in my budget, I put a line item in for that. So
Got
that
it.
way, when I'm looking at my total in, total out, if my total out is more than my total in, now I have to make an adjustment to my budget because I like to do what I like to do. And maybe I'll cut back on, instead of having shrimp, I may have chicken. So I cut
Yes.
off a couple of dollars, and I still ate, but I cut off the more expensive stuff so that I can do the things that I want to do.
That's good. And it helps when you say it that simple, the anxiety level starts to go down a little bit for folks who are living in 2 cent and really trying to figure out how to stretch it. And now you're talking about budgeting it, and now you're talking about all the other stuff in life. Haven't to hearing you say it that way, that I can make fun a line item, kind of helps me think I'm not a slave to the work experience. You know what I mean? Like the job doesn't have to be a slave to that, and that's all I'm doing is working, paying bills. I can put in there the stuff I love, the trip that I want to go on next year, and those type of things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because why would you go to work to sit there and spend and pay on bills constantly? I mean, you have to work, but when do you live?
Yeah.
If you're just going to work to pay bills, then you become very upset. But if you sit there and it becomes frustrating. If you have a line item in your budget that says that you can enjoy and still be relaxed and make all your bill payments on time, life is now fun.
Mm.
So I mean, it's something that I would say about 10 years ago I got into, and I've realized that now I'm not stressed about finances. I see there are bills. Sure. Are there months that are leaner than others? Yes.
Right.
But I've created a little my savings account that, okay, um, I overspent for December. I mean, I overspent on November because Christmas is coming up, Thanksgiving is coming up. So I spent a little over. Let's take a little bit out of the savings, balance it off, and I'm no longer stressed.
Mm. But that was after you intentionally committed that money to savings and not touched it, knowing that it was meant to help out. Ah.
Correct.
And you
And I
know that's one of our biggest issues. We might put it away, but then we go pick at it. And before you know,
it's gone. Yep.
yeah.
Yep. And again,
So
put it into a bank account that your emergency savings should be separate from your operating budget. It
mm,
needs to be separate. Don't have a huge operating budget or checking account. Um, I call them operating accounts because I speak more into the business side. Because actually, running a household is like a business, and it should be. Okay,
oh,
it's we
that's
know
good.
that we know that there's going to be bills. There's going to be pluses. There's going to be minuses. There's going to be income, and there are expenses. And that's what a business runs by. So if you ran your home financial plan like a business, then you'd see a little, you'd see it a little differently. It's not as emotional because
Mm,
you know you're going to have to pay that mortgage every month. You know, or rent every month. You know you're going to have to pay that light bill, or you're going to be sitting in the dark. And then you're gonna have the kids saying, "Hey, the internet's not on." Oh, that means I got to pay for the internet as well. So and then television, but I mean, whatever, however you do your streaming, um, these bills are coming month in and month out. So why not just write them down?
you just hit on so much. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful because I actually hear your heart. I know this is like stuff you literally repeat every day to someone. That's why I love the fact that you're pouring this into us because some of us, it's an aha moment. Like you said, we don't think about things like that. Like
Mhm.
the thought of separating my savings from my other money that I know I'm going to touch. If you would, before we delve in a little bit deeper to planning for the new year, do you have any basic tips for those just trying to do right now in the day to day, how to live within a budget
Mhm.
before we even talk about seeing a whole, investments and all of that stuff, like just trying to make sure we can get where we are together so we can maybe get out of holes some of us find ourselves in, needing to rebuild credit or made bad choices or whatever life has dished at us. A lot of people, the pandemic, they're still trying to recover from. So, what are
Absolutely.
some day to day, like tangible? If you had $10, you should do this. $20, consider this. A roller quarters. Like, what are some ideas you have? You share.
It's different for everyone, and I have to go back to my 6 letter curse word. If your budget says that you have an extra $10, okay, do you want to treat yourself today and then maybe fall into a shortcoming next month? Or do you want to put $5 away and then still treat yourself, but now you don't get the spa treatment? Now maybe you just get the massage. So, I mean, it depends on what your priorities are. Um, I have a friend that when he eats, his family eats. He's a single, no children. So his extra $10 could go longer than someone who has responsibilities and has a couple of uh-oh moments with, with kids, that things that can happen. So I can't give you a cookie cutter answer on that, but what I can say is if you have a budget, then you know what you can do with that extra $10.
But I appreciate you though re-emphasizing that it's different for everyone.
It
So, and
is.
you have to do what works for you and your world and your universe. And you also said something about goals. Like if you know what you're trying to go, if Christmas is coming, and
Mhm.
we never get shocked every year, right? It's consistent on the calendar. We know it's coming. But every year, folks are struggling in January,
Yep.
right? So, like, if we to hear you remind us that it's okay to put that in your budget.
Yep. You have to. You have to, because what's going to happen is it's going to be here. Last time I checked, no one has been able to stop the calendar from moving.
Right.
It's not happening. All right. And I don't know, December 25th comes around pretty much every year. And that day is gift giving day. I mean, it's just there and it's going to happen. But people seem surprised every year on
Every
December
year.
26th when that
Yeah.
bill comes and they say,
Yeah.
ooh, I spent $900 in gifts. I only had 400. So that means I put 500 on a credit card, borrowed it, and now I'm gonna have to pay interest on it. And now that 500 could start costing me $700 because I didn't plan.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the
I
big
mean,
things I heard you share in a course when you were teaching, when you did a course at Kennesaw State University, I remember you sharing with those students the wonderful budget word. But there was something else you emphasized even before that, and that was that money is mental. I wrote that down when you said that. You said money is mental. What you see and what you plan and everything that starts in here, like you just said, what you prioritize is what you're going to do with your money.
absolutely.
Um, please share your thoughts on that with our audience.
Okay, I like examples. So I love my wife to death. I love her to death. She enjoys baking. So she loves to bake. So her priorities are different than someone who likes to shop. So her specialty, I mean, she's gotten really into recently making cupcakes. So now she's buying bakeware and different things to customize cupcakes and things like that. So she's spending money on things like that. But when we did our budget, it was her, what did we call it? We called her recreational thing. And because I have my recreational fund, and she's changed it and shifted, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't planned. So having a plan for $1 is something that I enjoy. Um, Money is sexy, but money is just money. It's just
Mm,
money. Hopefully you can make more of it, but if you manage it properly, it's always going to be around.
that's good. That is so good. So this is what we're going to do, family. We're going to take a quick break because, man, when I tell you I've witnessed this gentleman for hours just teach and train and pour from his heart into others, and I've left with a pad full of notes just in how to better me. Can you stick around? Please don't go anywhere. We got to talk about preparing to go into the new year. Can you
Yeah,
hang tight with me?
I can do that.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so family, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hello, y'all. I am Chiquita Rhodes, aka Chi. I am an actress, singer, dancer, entertainer, motivational speaker, and hostess. Listen, I have an encouraging word for you. No matter how small the job is, no matter how small the opportunity is, no matter how small you think the door is, take the job, take the opportunity that leads you to your destiny. There is no job too small. There is no opportunity too small that is going to lead you towards your passion, your destiny, your dreams, okay? Y'all, please hear me. Breakthrough happens over time. It's a series of small things that happen over time that leads to breakthrough. So I encourage you today, take that leap of faith, take that small step of faith that's going to lead you to greater doors and greater opportunity. You can find me on Instagram at charming.chichi, Chichi. I am on Facebook as Chiquita Rhodes, and you can also find me on Instagram under BB&J Lifestyle, Beauty, Brains, and Jesus. Okay, y'all? Until the next time, the next place, and the next topic. Stay dope, y'all. Peace.
Power up. We're so glad you're here. I'm Tammy, your host with the phenomenal, and we're going to drain everything he has on financial information, Ken Burwell, who is a bank executive and financial advisor, amongst many other titles. He has title commissioner, he has title advisor, he's an advocate. He is a voice in the community. He has educator. He has so many different hats that he wears. Ken, I have to ask during this opportunity to sit with you that you share some things that can help us prepare for the next level as we go into a new year. One of the things that you shared and that I've heard you constantly reiterate, in addition to the budget, is that it's habits and how we can grow to be better.
Yes.
But many of us, whatever we're going to deal with and whatever holes we have this year, whatever stuff we're taking, there's new opportunity in front of us with the new year. What tips do you have that you could share with our audience as we prepare to cross into a new calendar year?
2024 is coming to an abrupt end. I mean, just it's coming to an end quickly. So there's nothing we can change to happen. I mean, what we've done in 2024, but what we can do is prepare for 2025. In 2025, I mean, one thing I like for folks to do, and these are actually free things to do that you don't have to spend money on or anything like that. The first thing I recommend folks to do is go pull your credit report, um, and make sure that your credit report reflects your actual credit. I've noticed in my job that when I have to, I mean, I'm doing a loan for a client. Uh, when we get their credit report, there's some things on their credit report, and I go over them, and they're saying, "Hey, I don't know where that's coming from. I've never seen that trade line before. I don't know why that's there." If you actually review your credit report, I mean, at least annually, you can really make some changes, one, to your credit score, and two, to your financial future, because everybody knows how important credit is. So I just recommend going to pulling, freeannualcreditreport.com, pull your credit report, see what's on the report, see what's actually being reported in your name, because you can find that just finding something on there is keeping your credit score down a little bit, which is actually raising your interest rates on other things. And if you correct that, your credit score gets a little higher, you get a lower interest rate. Hey, I just saved a couple of dollars. So,
Interest
yep.
is a topic that many don't fully understand. And I think you explained it, and I might be misquoting it, but as a vacuum. Does that make sense? Okay.
Interest. You know what? Now that you say that, yes. But Yes, because basically it's money you're spending that you probably you but well no, I wouldn't say that. It's money you're spending that you actually have control over. What folks charge you interest, you technically have control over it. You just don't know you do.
Hmm.
Your interest on loans, credit cards is based on how you manage your money. If you've noticed, some folks that have 800 credit scores have lower interest rates than folks who have 500 credit scores. So let's say you borrow $100 at 20% interest. You're paying more than the guy who has an 800 credit score and he's got 3% interest.
Yeah.
And again, it's not that the banks don't like you. It's not that it's not that the lending institutions are against you. It's just a rating. If you've managed your funds, your budget, and there's that word again. If you've managed your finances better, then you get preferred rates. So money management is
So
something that,
good.
again, I am an advocate for. People don't like the word because they think it's restrictive. It's not restrictive. It's just it's
Yeah.
something that you should do. I mean, you'll reap the rewards. It's definitely something you'll reap the rewards for.
And can you compare it to physical health?
Absolutely, financial health is just like physical health. Now, let, here's an example. Here's a question. Do you think the person that has control, has their handle on finance, is more stressed or less stressed than someone who's worrying about money coming in or money going out?
Okay.
So if they're stressed, that means could be anxiety, high blood pressure, you know, or frustrated with everything that happens. It could cause financial stress causes divorce. It causes sickness. It causes families to fall out. Money is the greatest thing in the world, but it's also the most evil thing in the world because people will do anything for money. So if you have control over what's coming in and going out and you have an idea of where it is, you control that and it's not controlling you.
Wow. What a way to put it. And great. And the perspective, I think we can relate to money and family dynamics.
Yep. I've had folks in my office fall out, husband, wife, brother, sister, parent, child, fall out over money. And I
Okay.
look at it and I just say, if you prepare today, tomorrow is brighter. And it's just very simple. You don't have to have, there's a quote that I'm looking at right now. If you can't control the money you're making more money won't help. Because if you can't control what you currently have, making more is not the answer. It's managing what you have. Then making more is better.
Tell us why that philosophy is so important.
You can put it biblically where in it I and again I'm a religious man, but I can't quote the Bible. But it said there's a saying about if you can manage a few things, I will give you many, I will make you master over many, or something like that. I don't remember the actual verse, but I relate the two. If you can control a few things, making more it will fall into line and make it easier. Um, if you ever remember when they had the guy who was spinning the plate on the stick, and if he couldn't get one going, then he got one going, and then when he went to go and do another one, that one fell. But then after he got good at it, he can do two or three and four and five at the same time. So having more plates does not necessarily mean that you're better. It just means you got good at spinning the one plate at a time and managing it simply like that.
Ooh, that was deep right there, Mr. Burwell. I like that. Thank you. And I'm stealing it. I'm letting you know that now. I'm gonna give you credit, but I'm stealing that from you. That was amazing because it makes sense. It makes sense when you put it in perspective because truthfully, folks who have little think having more is the answer.
No.
So the hustle for the dollar, stress and not missing kids' ball games and not being able to, go on trips with your family or enjoy, if I can get three jobs to pay the bills, that's the answer, the need for more money.
No,
What
think
I'm
about it.
hearing from, yes.
If you have three jobs, now you've put stress on family members. You're not around. You
So there's
miss
the connection to the physical you were talking about.
absolutely. I mean, working harder is not always working smarter. It's again, control what you have, itemize what you have, understand what you have. Then you can take control over that. And then as you get more, now you've managed, now you know how to manage it. You know where to put it. You know how to use it. And you can be like, okay, now I'm calm. Because once that bubble hits, whatever the bubble is, because someone said when things go bump in the night, if something happens, no, something is going to happen. You just don't know what or when. Something is always going to happen. And
So
somebody said,
that part too, can I ask one question?
mhm,
How should folks, we got budget line item, but
mhm.
what do we need to know about the emergency fund?
An emergency fund is just that, for emergencies. Your operating account is for monthly expenses and doing the ordinary, doing the everyday thing. That emergency is just putting $25 into an account, putting $10 a week into a separate savings account. $10 a week in a year is $520. Your tire blows on your car. After a year, you've got $520 to fix that, and it doesn't hurt your operating account. If you have $520 and you realize you forgot to get a gift for somebody who's pregnant at work and everybody's giving gifts, you've got some extra money to give that gift. And it's not going to upset your ordinary expenses. I mean, your ordinary budget. So
Mm.
that's what it is. It's like, ooh, I wasn't expecting this, but I've got something over here to take care of that.
And the piece
Call it
that will
insurance.
help.
Call it insurance for your financial success.
I love that. Insurance for your financial success. And we pay into insurance for the just in case for car and health and everything else. Why not pay into insurance for our money? Woo! You're messing me up today, Mr. Burwell. I love that.
And here's
I
they're
love
paying people are paying insurance. I have it over there. People are paying insurance on their phones. Why don't we insure our financial futures?
mm, mm.
Again, it doesn't have to be $1 million. $10, $15 on a regular into somewhere on the side, and you're like, after 6 months, you're like, oh, okay, all right, I'm good, and just keep it going. And if you can ever increase it, increase it. If you can't, just keep that same whatever it is going over there to the side, and you'll realize that when that tire blows, that air conditioning unit, something that it's not blowing out cold air in the middle of July. You
Yeah.
wish that you had that little extra.
Yeah, copay for emergency surgery, or the kids have a field trip they want to go on that you can't afford in your budget. I mean, just yeah, absolutely. And so I want to take a minute, if I can, and just ask you the heart that you have for people. You are also one of those guys that like is big on mentoring men and mentoring families. You pour into young men and then dads. You have a heart for brotherhood and
Yes.
for families and leading families. What would you share with those males who are watching right now, or those sisters who want to know what their man might be thinking as the dad when he comes to? Because let me tell you something. My husband, I don't understand when he I'm trying to get a few dollars just to do something I want to do, and he is tight with money. And it drives me as a wife. Listen here, brother. All I'm saying, right? So I go there with him. But I
Mhm.
think hearing the insight from a man with the thought process of men and money, or even just as the head or someone over a family or taking responsibility for something, what would you share?
Let's go back to the business analysis. I mean, the business
Okay,
analogy. The man should, I'm not, and again, I'm not sexist, but the
sure.
man should be the one who's like rational and decision orientated based on a rational thought and not an emotional thought. So if you have someone in the family, and again, it might not be the man, it could be the woman, it could be
Sure.
a single mom. Somebody has to be non-emotional about money and understanding that it's not an emotional spend. And if you understand that what you're doing and you have a plan to do it, it's again baking a cake. If you know these are the ingredients, it doesn't matter, male, female. It's just somebody needs to take control and say, hey, is that in the box? If it's not in the box, okay. It doesn't mean no. It's okay. How do we keep the box online and even and still satisfy the want? Because it might not be a need, it could be a want. How do we satisfy the want?
All right, I hear you.
And
Okay,
what I
so
do
it,
with young men, and I
I
love the
got you.
fact that I mean, growing up, my dad was a very strict person, very um it was very doesn't want to share didn't want to share financial things because his dad didn't teach him that basic on financial. I'm different. I taught my son, hey, the light bill is this, the gas bill is this is this, this is this. So he understood that if he wanted something, he had to contribute to staying inside the box and turning off that light so that way the electric bill could be $2 cheaper. Eating leftovers and not wanting, super meals so that he can get what he wanted, which was outside of the box. So that's what I try to, when I coach and mentor men, don't be secretive about money. Don't try to hide it. Have conversation about it so everyone learns and respects it. Because if you respect something, then you understand why people try to protect it. If you have no respect about it, you don't understand people's feelings about why they're there. Like you said, you want to spend something, and your husband is like, no, he understands. He's at that. He knows what's coming in, what's going out, and you know, I don't mean no today. I mean no today, but that does not mean no tomorrow. Let's put it in the budget. Let's figure out how to get there.
That's good. So it removes the emotional attachment. It's not personal. It's actually us doing this together. And my
Yep.
role is just to make sure that this happens while your
Right.
role is this. That is important to share because it offers respect for both persons versus feeling like it's one that has control, the other just must submit to.
No,
That's important.
in a two-person household, even the children should have an input. I just feel that money is something that is a unit's decision. Sure that there needs to be one person who makes the final decision, but input. But I mean, because people don't see everything the same. Children see things differently.
True.
A wife sees something different. Or I'm going to be more neutral. A partner sees something different than another partner.
Right.
Again, you went back to the priorities. My wife's priorities are different than my priorities, but that doesn't mean mine should exceed hers, or mine should be more prevalent than hers. And through conversation, we've learned to say, okay, I understand what you need. You understand what I need. Now, how can we put all of that in this box?
Gotcha. And I thank you for walking through that scenario because again, knowing that it helps with relationships and with
It does.
mental health and physical health, it alleviates a lot of the contention when there's understanding of how we're doing this and who is the one that's going to help lead this part of it. And I also appreciate you taking the man woman role out of it and just saying whoever is the one that makes the decision because there are some couples where the woman does take care of the finances while the man focuses on other things and they
Right.
make it work and it's exceptional and it's because there's commonality and understanding.
I know a couple who she doesn't work. The wife does not work.
Mhm.
The husband is a salesman, and he is an amazing salesman. He's really top in, I mean, he's usually top in his group. He told me, I make the money. She manages the money.
Yeah,
So it just because you make it doesn't mean you manage. You have to be the manager of it. You have to understand your skill set. If your skill set is you are extraordinarily, I mean, you're extraordinary at managing money, then manage the money. If you are extraordinary at making money, then make the money. If you have both, okay, great. But know your skill set.
that's awesome. That's a great way of putting it. Ken, before I let you go, you are also a hope guy. You love pouring into people, trying to build them up. Sometimes we get viewers, and first of all of this information has been wow. I every time I hear I learn something new about myself and about how I can be better. So thank you for sharing all of the wealth of information. I want to let the viewers know you can reach Ken Burwell. He is a bank executive with Truist Bank. You can reach him at kenneth.burwell@truist.com. He is accepting your emails if you have any questions. And listen, and one of the things he says all the time, don't just wait to try to hear from him. You can walk into any bank. I think the last time he said if you have $1 in an account, they owe you a service to tell you how they can help you in whatever you're dealing with. So wherever
Absolutely.
your money is, there's expertise there waiting to help you. But you're also welcome, and thank you for being willing to receive inquiries from our folks. Kenneth.burwell@truist.com. Ken, before I let you go, you love people and you take every opportunity you can to pour hope into folks. So I want to give you these last few seconds while we have you to share your heart, encourage anyone you like.
I want everyone to succeed. And again, money is a tool, like a hammer, like a screwdriver. Use it wisely, use it smart, but don't make it the divisiveness of relationships, the divisiveness of privilege. It's just money. And if you realize the fact that if you can manage it properly, you don't have to be a millionaire to live the life. Sure, you may not have the mansion, but you have that internal peace, you have the health, and you have the relationships because you're not stressed over something that other people are.
Powerful words from the man. We're going to have you back, of course, in a few months when we're on the other side. I know you mentioned this is 2024 and then going into 2025, but we plan to repay this segment. And if I'm correct, just to hear it from you, all of this is relevant going into 6 and 7 and 8 and any way we handle things. So there's nothing to
Absolutely.
do. Thank you so much for joining us, Ken.
One one
Family, yes,
thing,
please,
one
please.
thing I want, and this is something that I encountered recently. Year end is coming. Check one. Make sure if you're working, you have your benefit package, and you've taken complete control over that, and you've done that. Two, review your beneficiaries. We found recently some people have passed, and their beneficiaries weren't people who should have been there because they had already passed. I just want people to be out there. I mean, be mindful of review your beneficiaries. It is something that once you pass, you can't change.
Mm, that's good, Ken. And one of the other tips you mentioned was pull your credit score,
Pull your credit score. Pull your credit report.
your credit report.
See what's on there. Because a credit report is just really a report of what you've done or what is reported that you have, that your social security number has done. In today's environment, it may not have been you.
Wow. Great point. Thank you, Ken. Kenneth.Burwell at truist.com. Thank you for joining us, sir, and for pouring into us. We'll see
My
you
pleasure.
soon.
Thank you
Family,
so much.
what a great way. Thank you, sir. What a great way to wrap up our show. We're excited that we had the opportunity to bring Ken to you today. He is top notch, as we always have, and bring our guests. We have to end this show by reminding you of how important your financial health is. And see, it's not about being perfect. One of the great things about where you are right now with your money is if you're not happy, if you're not satisfied, you can shift. You can make a change. You can increase habits and start making different decisions. One of the things I appreciate Ken reminding us of is that all of us are dealing with something. Millionaires are dealing with how to manage what they have, and those that have little are dealing with how to manage what they have. So just pouring money on top of that, it doesn't help a lot of times. That's why, sadly, some folks who win the lottery go right back to being broke. They spent through that money because there were regular habits that they didn't put in place, starting with his wonderful word, budget. We're so glad Ken joined us. You can reach him once again at Kenneth.Burwell at Truist.com. Feel free to send him your questions. I guarantee one of the first things he's going to say is, have you spoken to anyone at your financial institution? Walk into any bank where you have your money and speak to a financial advisor. It's hard sometimes, I know, because you don't want to hear people say, why are you paying this much for this and this much for this? Have you considered this? Do you know that your income is less than your debt? That's why you can't get ahead. You have so much that you have obligations for, but you're not making in enough money. So instead of trying to get more money coming in, how about let's look at what's already going out, your obligations, your commitments, and see what you can lessen there. Sometimes the hard conversations can prepare us so we're better in the years to come. We started with Inside the News, where we also shared information from BEA.gov, the United States Bureau of Economic Analysis, how they have been created by the U.S. Department of Commerce to do reports, generate overview of where our country is in spending inside our borders and globally. Check them out to see what information you can learn from the Bureau of Economic Analysis. One thing we try to do here is bring new information. And you want to know what your tax dollars are going for? They're going for government entities. This is one. What do they do that can help give information to you that can help your global picture of your money? What you're doing now within your budget, and how your funds might be part of an export, or your taxes might work within other ways that Congress and the government might determine. Go to U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis and learn more. They're out there pulling information using your tax dollars to help give a better picture. So we hope introducing them to some might be helpful. And again, no better way to wrap up than a great thank you to Ken Burwell for joining us. We thank him for his service in the United States military and for all that he does to pour into folks every single day to just try to help us be better, healthy financially. Because as he mentioned, that also impacts you physically, mentally, and in so many other ways. I love how he said, incorporate in your budget your fun line item. That way you're still enjoying the ride while you're living within your expenses. And yes, he mentioned that savings account because you do need that for emergencies. Knowledge is power, family. Now it's what you do with it. Thank you to all of our military, first responders, soldiers who sacrifice every day, medical professionals, teachers, all of you who are making a difference where you are. We'll see you next time.